Whose side are you on? Team Captain America or Team Iron Man? If you asked me back in 2016 when this movie first came out, I would have voted for Team Iron Man because I did when I first saw this. But as of now, I now vote for Team Captain America. Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I'm going to be reviewing Captain America Civil War. So, Captain America Civil War is the third installment in the Captain America quadrilogy, as well as the first MCU film in Phase 3, which is what many consider to be the greatest MCU phase ever. And it came out in the year 2016, a year that I will defend till the day I die. And it is directed once again by Anthony and Joe Russo, just like The Winter Soldier. And it stars Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner, Chadwick Boseman, Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Rudd, Emily Van Camp, Tom Holland, Daniel Brühl, Frank Grillo, William Hurt, Martin Freeman, Marissa Tomei, John Caney, etc. And so the film tells a story taking place after the events of Avengers Age of Ultron, where Captain America and some other Avengers go on a mission in Lagos, Nigeria, to stop Frank Grillo's character. I forgot the name of his villain character, honestly. If you guys remember, let me know down below in the comments. Oh yeah, Crossbones. Yeah, I remember that was Crossbones. But the mission has failed because of how the team has caused yet another destruction. And so the government becomes sick of the Avengers causing destruction and mayhem. And pretty much affecting lives of innocent citizens from the Avengers big battle of New York to the Washington D.C. Massacre in Where Soldier to the Sokovia massacre in Age of Ultron. The government governments of the world pass an act designed to regulate all superhuman activity, and so now the government is overseeing activities of the Avengers, ensuring that they do not affect civilians, innocent civilians. Otherwise, they will be arrested. And so this polarizes opinion amongst the Avengers, causing two factions to side with Iron Man or Captain America, as Iron Man agrees with the government that they should oversee the Avengers' activities, but Captain America believes that the Avengers can should be independent. They should not depend on the government to make the decisions for them. So and the other Avengers are there to like pretty much support either Cap or Iron Man. Some support Cap while others support Iron Man, and this leads into a battle between the two former allies, as the evil scientist named sorry, I'm lost, named Zemo. Sorry, I was distracted a bit, but yeah, the evil scientist named Zemo turns out to be responsible for dividing the Avengers, like fractioning the team as his plot of revenge for affecting his family's lives in Sokovia during their battle. And he frames Bucky to cause the team to split up even more. So yeah, now yes, Captain America: Civil War was one of the most hyped up MCU movies at the time, as this was not gonna be your ordinary Captain America film. No, no, no. This is actually going to be a film where Captain America and Tony Stark fight each other. Now, Captain America: The Winter Soldier really raised the bar so high for this Captain America franchise, and for the character in general. As Captain America: The Winter Soldier is not only a top tier MCU movie, but also a fan favorite MCU movie too. And some people, there are a handful of people who still think The Winter Soldier is still the best MCU movie to date. So Civil War had a lot to live up to if it wanted to match the level of The Winter Soldier, or and also not only that, but this is going to be a the start of the what is quite possibly the biggest MCU phase yet, which is Phase 3. As you know, this is the phase that leads closer and closer into the big Avengers event yet. And so yeah, I mean, we all thought that it was just going to be Captain America and Iron Man fighting together, just them. And also, they also said that Black Panther will be introduced to the MCU with this film. He will be making his debut with Chadwick Boseman confirmed to play Black Panther the once they announced this film at Marvel CinemaCon in 2014, I think, or 2015. Yeah, I think 2014. Well, yeah, but whatever. But little did we know that this was actually going to feature nearly every single Avengers members, like except for Thor and Hulk. They were the only like major Avengers members who did not who did not show up in this one. So this film also had to justify itself as a Captain America movie, despite the presence of the Avengers. And also, yeah, 2016 was the year of superheroes, of popular superheroes that we know and love fighting against each other. And the last time, yeah, and not only is Marvel doing that with Captain America and Iron Man, but DC also did that in the same year with Batman versus Superman. Yeah, Batman versus Superman. Well, I don't think it's nearly as bad as what people make it out to be. Yeah, it does still is it still is a underwhelming movie. It could have been a lot better. I think it is passable. I kind of enjoy it, and I will admit this. Batman vs Superman has quite possibly my favorite action scene in the entire DCEU. Uh, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman versus Doomsday. Yeah, that's probably my favorite action scene in the whole DCU. And that scene with the Wonder Woman saving Batman's ass from Doomsday. Yeah, that was the best scene in the entire DCU. I will never forget that. Seeing that moment for the first time in theaters, I got chills and um, my whole crowd was audiences was cheering at it. But yeah, I know people were actually more anticipating Batman versus Superman than this, but I always was more hyped for this film. In fact, Civil War is actually my number one most anticipated movie of 2016, believe it or not. And yeah, after seeing this film for the first time, yeah, now keep in mind that I've always been a Marvel fan ever since 2012 when I saw the Avengers for the first time as my very first Marvel movie that I've seen in theaters, let alone PG-13 in movies in general. But Civil War made me the MCU worshipper that I am today. It could have been Avengers: Age of Ultron, as that was my number one most anticipated movie of 2015. But I mean, even then, even when I saw it for the first time, even I walked out of it saying, "Oh, it's great. I really like this film," but it was not the masterpiece that I expecting it to be. Civil War was like was that movie like. It kind of feels like all the potential had for Avengers: Age of Ultron to be something truly groundbreaking, like a groundbreaking Avengers movie. It all went to this film. And yeah, and all thanks to this film, I am now the MCU worshiper that I am today. Like the way you all see me, the fanboy the MCU. It all started with Civil War, and and when I saw this for the first time in cinemas, I even went as far as calling this my favorite movie of all time, Walking Elephant. Well, of course, it didn't stay as my favorite movie for a long time, as back then I couldn't really find out what my true favorite movie of all time is. I was like, oh, this is my favorite movie. No, this is my favorite movie. No, this is actually my favorite movie. So yeah, it was kind of a hassle. And this movie was praised at the time as one of the absolute goats of the MCU. Although sadly now many people say that this movie actually does not hold up, and they would say stuff like, "Oh, it's a mess." Okay, well, inferior calling it as inferior to Winter Soldier, I personally understand why. But do I prefer this to Winter Soldier or not? Well, I'm about to say in a bit, but yeah, yeah, a lot of people like are starting to call this mediocre, forgettable superhero fluff, and some even go as far as saying that Batman versus Superman is the better superhero film about two allies of fighting each other in competition. In yeah, Batman vs Superman is kind of getting more appreciation now. Yeah, this film just gets less love. But yeah, and now as for me personally, after rewatching this film on Disney Plus in preparation for Brave New World, does Civil War hold up? I gotta say, abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah, while the Winter Soldier does come very close to the levels of this film, Captain America: Civil War takes a slight edge as the greatest Captain America movie ever. Oh, and I forgot to mention as well that I actually saw this movie for the second time in on the Disney cruise, which is still the best vacation I've ever had in my lifetime, and it's one of the reasons why 2016 is one of the greatest years ever. Yeah, seeing this movie on the cruise, probably a better experience than seeing this film in IMAX, believe it or not. And it wasn't just in the that small theater in Disney cruise. It was actually in that big theater where they have their stage shows at. Yeah, insane. Anthony and Joe Russo truly cooked with this film, especially as a semi-Avengers film, proving that they were worthy to helm the two biggest MCU movies right now, Infinity War and Endgame. Now, most of us can agree that the one aspect in this that isn't quite as good as The Winter Soldier is the action scenes. Now the action scenes, the action scenes in Captain America: The Winter Soldier were hard to top in terms of a Captain America movie. Especially with that hand to hand, that fist to fist fight between Cap and Buck and the Winter Soldier, and the elevator action scene as well, and the ferry action scene. This film's action doesn't quite match the levels of those films, but it's just hard to top. The Winter Soldier's actions are just hard to top. Civil War's action sequences are still peak and among the greatest action in the entire MCU. Despite having larger stakes, they still kept the street level scale that you'd expect in Captain America. That's actually the reason why they didn't include a character like Thor. So they can keep this a little more grounded. And yeah, I'm not gonna say about Frozen. What kind of point are you trying to make? A Scarlet Witch and Vision were in this film. Well, they could still fight in like grounded fashion, and yeah, and yeah, the film gave us some like memorable action scenes that are still remembered to this day. Like it's like the iconic airport battle where the heroes from both sides go up against each other. It's an extremely unique fight that's distant from your typical hero versus villain fight, and it's also like such a long 15-minute fight. It's not even the final battle yet it's longer than a lot of the other MCU final battles. The film had other memorable action scenes as well, such as the opening fight in Lagos, Nigeria, the tunnel chase in Germany, I think, with Black Panther's debut action scene in the MCU. I'll talk about Black Panther later, by the way. And my personal favorite action scene in the film, which is the final battle between Captain America and Bucky versus Iron Man. That fight had so much stakes and impact that more than the airport fight. Yeah, and yeah, it's really like that actually felt so personal. It's so also so intense, and yeah, it even almost made me tear up because just how impactful that fight is. But the film isn't just all massive action scenes, and it does not forget to tell a story. In fact, I think this might be the most well written MCU movie yet. It's a story that challenges the viewers due to how complex and multi layered it is. Even understanding why the film is called Captain America, despite being a semi Avengers movie, is challenging to understand. But I get it. The film being called Civil War represents the other Avengers who were in this film because in the comics, Civil War is an Avengers story. Although, but the only difference is that well, this film is a Captain America movie. Civil War, in the comics, which I personally have, by the way, is a Captain Marvel story. But I think Captain America works better to me. But deep down, like it is still a Captain America movie because the story is still told in his point of view with his moral dilemma, struggling to accept the government's control of the Avengers. As expected in a Captain America movie, it is a very political film as the viewers are challenged to choose sides involving government actions. Tony Stark supports the government to oversee the Avengers, while Steve Rogers does not support the government. Captain America may have made some decisions that caused the government to see him as a criminal and the fact that he went rogue, but he does them all for the right reasons, or rather valid reasons. The film encourages audiences to choose a side, whether if they agree with Steve's decision to not allow government interference, or if they agree with Tony that the government must supervise the Avengers. With this much of a heavy plot, the major characters were all fleshed out as well, especially Steve and Tony. Steve's character arc of wanting to do what he believes is right rather than what the government thinks is right was handled very well. And Tony also, he was kind of Captain America. Tony was Steve's rival in this one, as he was on the opposite side in this conflict. Plus, we also get to learn. We actually get to learn about Tony's parents' death and how it personally affected him in this day and age. Black Widow and Sharon Carter were also among the standouts of the film. Although yes, the Steve and Sharon kiss was controversial, but I personally didn't mind it. Yes, it is weird because I mean it's like you're a middle aged man that like dating a middle aged woman, but then you actually but then you actually like also have get into a romantic relationship with a daughter once the wife dies. That's no once the girlfriend dies. That was weird, but again, it didn't really bother me that much. It didn't bother me that much. Yeah. Yeah. But I will say yes, that kiss is probably the weakest part of the film. Although like there's no part where I would say oh it's mediocre. I don't even have a nitpick in this film, and I had one. If you guys remember my Winter Soldier review, I had one nitpick on that film, which is Steve's Captain America outfit looking quite outdated. So yeah, Bucky is another one of the most fleshed out characters in the film, giving us more on him, more character development of him and the backgrounds Hydra had of controlling him, as well as other victims of Hydra. Black Panther and Spider-Man also make their debut in the MCU, and this film nailed the introduction, especially Black Panther. The film immediately makes us care about T'Challa within the first 5 minutes of his appearance, and then uh, blow us away when we see him take action as the Black Panther. Yeah, T'Challa does go rogue, but it's actually understandable um because the UN conference was blown up, and that T'Challa's father T'Chaka died in that explosion, and surveillance footage claimed that Bucky was behind it, so that was what made T'Challa like get revenge on Bucky. Although at the end it did turn out that Zemo was the one responsible for that bombing. And even if we only saw T'Chaka like 2 minutes of the film, man, his death really hit hard. Especially now that it's the center of attention for T'Challa's character arc in Black Panther. The Black Panther. While this is the weakest presence of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the film still did a great job of introducing us to this iteration of Spider-Man. Many people say that Tom Holland was actually the standout of the film despite his limited screen time. And yeah, he was hilarious. I'll talk about the comedy later. My thoughts on the comedy, because yes, there was comedy in this film. The performances cannot be overlooked as well because they're all really great. Both Robert Downey Jr. and Sebastian Stan, in particular, give these stand-up performances in the film. And yeah, both of them. Yeah, I think Robert Downey Jr. in particular. Besides Avengers Endgame, I think this might be Robert Downey Jr.'s best performance as Iron Man yet. Again, I'm debating between this or Endgame. But yeah, this one you really feel Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Tony Stark, as his character was much more personal in this one. And yes, now going back to the comedy, there was a tad bit of comedy in this film, but none of the jokes took away the grounded tone of the film, and the jokes actually landed. Plus, the only reason why this film had a bit of comedy was because both Spider-Man and Ant-Man were the two of the funniest MCU characters ever. Yeah, Spider-Man's jokes in particular were just hilarious. I think Ant-Man had some of the funniest jokes, like after Ant-Man grows into a giant, and then Team Iron Man took him down. And then the first thing Scott says after landing was, "Does anyone have orange slices?" Yeah, that was hilarious. And although one of the things that's commonly criticized and quite divisive about the film is is Zemo, the main antagonist of the film. I think Zemo is one of the most underrated and misunderstood MCU villains, similar to Carly in the Falcon Winter Soldier, but not as good as Carly to me. Zemo is such a unique villain as he took a backseat and watched his plan of fracturing the Avengers unfold. The fact that Zemo doesn't really do anything, he doesn't really fight, and yet he was just there to watch the Avengers suffer, and the fact that he actually won at the end by having the Avengers completely fractured, completely separated, and it literally took until Avengers Endgame to have all the heroes united with each other. It is just insane. Yeah, I think Zemo deserves a much more appreciation than that. The fact that he barely did anything, yet he still won. Um, and he did all this behind the audience's backs. That is now that is a true menace, and a different kind of villain. So I appreciate the MCU for actually taking that route. So overall, Captain America: Civil War is a perfect start to what most consider as the best phase in the MCU, and is a top tier MCU movie with high stakes, huge scale, epic action, fleshed out characters, and the best screenplay that the MCU has to offer. It is the best Captain America movie to me. Even if it's only edged out from Winter Soldier, both movies do come close. Yeah, it still holds up much better than you think. I think this movie is far better than you make it out to be. 2016 is one of, if not the most underrated year period, and Civil War is a contribution to why I love 2016. And yes, this may have been my most anticipated movie of the year of 2016. Although yes, I will say that there are better movies to come out in that year, such as The Edge of 17, La La Land, and especially Zootopia being my number one favorite movie of 2016. Yeah, but this is most certainly the best superhero movie to come out in 2016. So with that said, guys, I'm going to give Captain America: Civil War an easy 5 stars out of 5. A flawless movie. So that's all for my review of Captain America: Civil War. What are your thoughts on the film? Who agrees with me that Civil War is the best Captain America movie yet? Would you say that you still love this film, but it is a step down from The Winter Soldier? Or do you think that this movie is highly overrated and does not hold up well? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my movie review on Captain America: Brave New World. Yes, as I'm recording this, I'm seeing Captain America: Brave New World later this afternoon in 4DX. I know it's not going to live up to the levels of this film and not even The Winter Soldier, but I'm still confident that I will love the film, and I'm pumped for Brave New World. So yeah, bye guys.